All right, so with our lovely Miss Ruby, I know you guys had mentioned that at times she gets very excitable and eager for things, which is very normal, especially when we're dealing with a teenager, but also in general, golden retrievers tend to be very eager beavers, which is fine. So, but sometimes, reining it in can be a little challenging. So we're just going to warm up with a couple little finds just to get her in the groove. I love that she goes just as crazy for her kibble as she does her cucumbers. So today she's about getting some cucumbers versus her carrots, unlike last Thursday. Good job, cutie. So again, some of the benefits for some of these find its is getting her to be able to wiggle. So you may find for some movement behaviors are going to be more beneficial at certain points, though we do want her to start practicing as well, sometimes simmering or kind of trying to bring it back to more of a sort of thinking moment where her body and brain connect. So we're going to also dive into like a couple pattern games that we might find really helpful for her, but also some of the other teenagers in the program. So pattern games were designed by this lady named Leslie Devitt, I think. I'm terrible with last names and remembering them. But her program is called Control Unleashed. I do highly recommend it. It is one of my favorites. She has 3 different books. One's more geared to like puppies. One is just, again, some extra goodies. And then the other one is actually geared towards like reactivity. So it could be like over exuberance to like frustration and then reactivity in the sense of barking, lunging, and having a hard time. So, but these patterns are a great way to create associations with things that once had a different feel to now either calmer responses or being able to check in with the handler, being able to maybe ignore distractions they found more challenging or difficult at the time. So we may find for her and her classmates that Control Unleashed pattern games might be a wonderful option. So there are some extra videos that were sent along before for prior groups, but also for classes, I should say. And for like the private I did send along some goodies then. But if you have trouble finding any of the pattern games in either the document I sent along or even on YouTube, let me know. But the one we're going to warm up with is the up-down game. So I'm going to grab some targets. You don't have to do this pattern per se with targets because eventually you won't be always bringing things that are visual for your pup to hone in on. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and grab some of the targets and we're going to work on the up-down game as well as the ping pong game. So I just have my little mats over here. Your targets could be, for example, bowls. They could be, for example, paper plates. They could be, these are like little carpety kind of guys that would go on chairs. And I just cut off the ropes because I just wanted them as visuals for targets or for sniff items. So what I normally recommend is start off with 3 because you might also transition from the up-down pattern game into the ping pong game. So for up down, the way this is going to start is if your babe is really in love with like where the food is coming from, like your hands, I would recommend to put them behind your back so your puppy doesn't hone in on just your hands. We want them to actually look into your eyes. So the way this is going to start is the reason it's called, again, the up down game is the food starts off on the ground with the down position, not in the sense of, sorry, I shouldn't say that, with a down item on the ground. And then you don't have to have a sit, you don't have to have a down, you don't have to be like, again, in a particular body position. The main goal is that she's going downwards to grab the food and then looks up into your eyes. And that's the up part. You will want to mark the moment she looks at you and feed for that. So like, let's say right here, I'm going to go ahead and put the food on the floor, right on the target mat. What I'm waiting for her to do is after she, yes, looks at, let's say me, I'm going to mark the yes when she gives me those eyeballs and feed. If she goes into a down or relaxes, that's fine too. Yes. You will be able to do these pattern games in different positions. Yes. So right now, what this can help your puppy do is hone in on you. Yes. Versus, for example, the environment or stimulus that could be too overwhelming. Yes. So right now, this just consists of every time she gives me, oh, chewing is optional. Every time Miss Lovely gives me eyeballs without being cued for it, I'm going to go yes and mark it and then feed the floor. This can be a great game to transition, yes, from let's say your living room to your kitchen to also maybe outside. Yes. So because for a lot of dogs, they have a challenging moment. Nice job, and we'll be all done. So we'll let her go and find a snack. So if your babe has a hard time going from, let's say, inside to outside and still stay sort of functional or focused, this is where pattern games will be your best friends. So again, right here, she's giving me eyes. Yes. I'm going to do it from the side. Yes. So you guys can see her better. So again, I'm just waiting for those eyes to hit my face. Yes. 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 So again, a little bit of obviously some reps. Yes. But this is again how we start to master new skills. Yes. So with this up-down game, you're again feeding, and I'm just doing some find it's just to get her up and wiggling. So she can take a little break. She's like, I didn't see that one, she says. So the benefit of the up-down game is it starts to create a puppy or a dog that starts to hone in on the handler, even though there could be stimulation going around. And it's not you asking for check-ins. They start to offer eye contact on their own. So as opposed to the up-down game, which we were just doing, the ping pong game consists of feeding your dog to the left or the right versus right in front of you in like your feet area. So this one, for some dogs, is much more reinforcing, or they like it better because it involves some movement. So you can see that she's a fan of the find its, which find its are a little different. They're more about redirecting or disengaging from something and then targeting that find it instead. So because if, for example, the food is, again, more redirection, this is more the food is given so she has a chance to take a breather and then come back and reorient to you, and that's what's getting marked. So we're like, find it, I'm not asking her for checking in or for focus on me. I'm trying to redirect her away from a distraction. So right here, I might start it off with, again, she's giving me eyes, and I'm gonna go, yes, I'm gonna feed the floor on the side. So again, I'm waiting for those eyes. Yes. She's like, where'd it go? And in the beginning, you can keep it really nearby. So right now, I'm just feeding all the time, just a little bit from one side to the other. So not too far. Yes. 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 And you could, again, do this without having any targets for these particular games. So, but sometimes the nice thing about keeping things consistent with pattern games is since there's always the same rules apply in the same way you play it every time, the thing that changes eventually is the environment or the stimulation or the difficulty around them. So what you're trying to build up for your babe is that when things get more challenging, this stays very consistent. So it can bring them comfort, sort of consistency where they know what to expect. So then let's say she's been doing a great job with the target just to my left or the right. I'm gonna go ahead and now, as opposed to feeding the floor, I'm gonna toss the food. So I'm gonna wait for those eyes to hit me. Yes, and I toss the food. So now again, I'm gonna wait for her to come back into my space roughly. If she locks eyes, yes. So we wanna make sure though that she's not locking eyes on your treat pouch or your hand. So right here, I have my hand behind my back. Yes. So this also helps because now that your puppy goes so far away from you that they could get lost, yes, that it gives them a chance to almost get distracted and then see if they can come back and orient back to you. Yes. Yes. She's doing beautiful. Yes. Great job. Yes. So this is the ping pong game. It looks similar to my find its, but the difference is that you're looking for connection with the handler. Remember, find its are more, let's disengage, let's do this instead. So view it as like you're trying to replace something you don't love with redirection or distraction. This, for example, is connection. So when she connects with you, you can go yes, and we can go back into the up-down game right here. So let's say, again, we're just gonna work it while she's right in front of me. She gives me eyes, yes. 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 So, and I know this doesn't seem like a big deal, but she is doing a really nice job honing in on me and giving me eyeballs compared to checking out the environment. Some of her classmates are doing some woo-woos because maybe they want to do some wrestles instead of taking a little nap. So She may at times hear noises in the building, but instead of focusing on those things, she's honing in on me and the tasks that we're working on. Yes. So we're just going to do the up-down game just over here instead. Yes. 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 So let's say, for example, I'm just going to give her a little breather because that was really pretty. So I'm going to send her away just with a typical find it, just go do something else. So the other pattern game that we're going to rock is we're going to try a little bit with what's called the Super Bowls game. So with the Super Bowls game, what we're doing is we're going to go ahead and right now I'm just doing find it to keep her busy while I'm blabbing. So the Super Bowls game consists of typically having targets, be it bowls, visual targets like these, or whatever you have that could be used. I would recommend targets that are non-threatening. So like if you have certain textures or materials that your pup finds a little bit spooky, I wouldn't do that game with spooky items. So you could, for example, I'm just going to grab my other 3 little targets that are just over here. And we're going to practice a little bit with using the Super Bowls game. So with the Super Bowls game, it sounds like playing football. But what this is going to consist of is when your dog, for example, looks up at you, which is kind of the main goal to most of these pattern games, is focus on the handler from other things and calming down or feeling safe. So with the pattern game of the Super Bowls game, you'd have several targets. She's going to help. And they don't have to be in a straight line. They can, or they can be sort of spaced out where they're not too far apart in the beginning. But the main goal to this exercise is the moment as you're walking around and you feed one of the targets, you're looking for her to go from the target, find the food, and then look up at you. The benefit of having these visuals is for a lot of dogs, let's say stepping from inside to outside is really challenging and they get almost overwhelmed by everything around them. These little target zones can bring them back into honing in on something versus not sure what to do. So this could be a great transition from inside to outside, from in your car to out of the car, and work a few skills there. So because for a lot of teenagers, I'm just doing find it's again to keep her busy, is with a lot of teenagers, they start to have big emotions and big responses to things because again, their body and their mind are still very much so under construction now. And they may not have the same control when it comes to, again, impulse control, but also like regulating of emotions. So right here, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to start the game. Maybe, for example, I'll maybe start her over here, but you could pretty much start this anywhere. But I want to make sure I have enough fun targets to work with. So I'm going to place the food on the floor, on the target. I'm going to take a little step, and the moment she looks at me, yes. So while she's eating the food on the ground, yes, that's when I start moving to the next item. And then I'm waiting for her, yes, to lock eyes on me. So now I might move again, and she caught me. She's like, I'm on to you, lady. So I'm going to plop the food here, then take a little step, and then see if she gives me eyes. Yes. And you can rotate through the different targets. So it doesn't have to be a particular pattern. Yes. In the sense of like from point A to point B, you could kind of meander through the zone. Yes. And this starts to help your puppy hone in on you versus the environment. So right here, we're just waiting for those eyes. Yes. She's like, where'd it go? Right here. She's a very wiggly woman. So again, yes. 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 So I'm looking for those eyes to hit my face again. Yes. 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 She's doing beautiful. Yes. 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 This can also be really helpful for a pup that tends to, yes, do a lot of pulling and get easily overwhelmed. So remember for dogs, having like a leash attached to you and like having to somehow magically understand what this other creature wants from you and how to move and how to pay attention and what to ignore. A lot of that can be very challenging for a lot of dogs and puppies. So I would highly recommend practice. Obviously, some of the skills we're trying to discuss and work on here would be something that I would work on a little bit softer, like inside the home, maybe in your driveway, then maybe transition from the driveway to the grassy zone, and then see if you can still have this type of consistency or focus on you. If you're finding that it's very minimal or almost non-existent, remember that when your babe is unable to perform or offer skills or take food, it means that they're also no longer able to learn. So if our gorgeous gal is incapable of, for example, like checking in and working a skill set, then whatever we're working on is actually not, enriching her in the sense of learning what to do. She might be learning what you do when you get stressed out, and that might be her only option. So remember, we want to be careful that we're not flooding our puppies with too much environmental stimulus or too much of a setup where it could be too scary or too exciting, and then get upset when they keep failing. So make sure that, again, since behavior is very much so driven by the environment, we want to make sure that we're helping pick environments where we think the puppies are going to be more or less likely to fail, but more likely to be successful. And that's going to be really important. So right here, I'm going to go, Ruby, come. So I'm just throwing out a lovely little recall. So we'll take a little break from the pattern games. We'll just rock a few little recalls with the gorgeous gal. So I'm going to send her away with a little snack to go get distracted. And then Ruby, come. Yes, nice job. So her recalls are really quite beautiful. Obviously, I know in here, it is one of those more like a vacuum setting where it's a classroom. Ruby, come. Nice job. But I would highly recommend practice recall exercises in the home. Maybe even do it where she's busy doing something. All of a sudden you call her around the corner where you weren't in a visual range. Yes. You can also just mark with the, again, YES means here comes a food paycheck. So I would recommend to even mark the moments where she's coming towards you, even if you didn't have the recall words, used. Yes, nice job. Sometimes we can even do a little jackpot with the gorgeous gal to reinforce that coming to me had a really great reinforcement moment. Yes, what a smart girl. So, but maybe what we'll do is we'll give her a little breather from the up-down game, the ping pong game, and the Super Bowls game. But if you want more videos on these really awesome pattern games, definitely check out the document. I had like 2 Word documents sent along a little while ago, but if you can't find them, just let me know. And one of them was just a whole slew of other video content. And then there was one titled Pattern Games. So definitely take a peek, see, because I'm pretty certain I have these ones already on there with other folks rocking it. So you can see as well another example. Ruby, come. Yes, nice job. Ready? We'll do another little find it. She's doing a really great job. Ruby, come. Yes, nice. So we'll end it on this note, and then we'll work a few other little skills. That was really pretty. So we're just going to do a fun little find it, keep her busy, and I'll give her a little break. But what a nice job she did.